As a champion water polo player, Australian Kelly Lane seemed to have it all: beauty, athletic prowess, and a promising future. Yet, her life took a tragic turn shrouded in mystery. Born in 1975 to a sporting family, Kelly's upbringing was steeped in athleticism. Her father, Robert Lane, was a former rugby player and police officer, while her mother, Sandra, worked in healthcare and coached water polo. Along with her brother, Morgan, Kelly enjoyed a comfortable life in a respectable Sydney suburb. A golden child, Kelly excelled at Manly High School and later McKellar High School. She pursued higher education at the University of Newcastle, earning an arts degree before attending the Australian College of Physical Education. Simultaneously, she embarked on her coaching career, teaching physical education at a girls' secondary school. While she enjoyed a typical young life with friends and parties, her primary focus remained her sporting ambitions. Emulating her mother, Kelly became a highly skilled water polo player, gaining recognition in Manly. Her parents, both respected professionals, took pride in her achievements and actively supported her athletic pursuits. Sandra, acting as both mother and manager, handled much of Kelly's organizational needs, eventually entrusting her to a more seasoned coach. Kelly's dedication was unwavering, often training from 4:30 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. With her parents' unwavering support and their own athletic backgrounds, Kelly thrived under a demanding schedule she had followed since childhood. Despite her rigorous training, she still found time for social activities, enjoying parties and drinks with friends. Her natural beauty and athletic physique attracted numerous admirers, even in high school, but her demanding schedule made sustained relationships challenging. In 1992, during her final year of high school, Kelly began dating fellow athlete Aaron Tyak. Their shared passion for sports fueled a deep connection. However, an unexpected pregnancy, despite Kelly being on birth control, led to a difficult decision. At just 17, focused on her burgeoning athletic career, Kelly chose to terminate the pregnancy with Aaron's support. The entire ordeal remained a closely guarded secret, hidden from her parents. By early 1994, Kelly and Aaron's relationship ended, strained by increasing conflict. Kelly then became involved with a married man. Around age 19, she found herself pregnant again, despite using contraception. Unwilling to carry the child to term, she opted for another abortion. This time, the procedure proved far more traumatic due to the later stage of the pregnancy. Again, Kelly kept her decision private, not even confiding in her new partner. Seeking discretion, Kelly approached a different clinic but was refused due to the advanced stage of her pregnancy. Despite her pleas, the clinic declined to perform the procedure. Left with no alternative, she returned to the clinic where she had her first abortion. To secure the procedure, Kelly was forced to misrepresent the circumstances of her pregnancy. The clinic agreed, performing the abortion at 20 weeks. The secrecy surrounding this event meant Kelly lacked the support of family and friends, yet she remained resolute in her decision. Remarkably, throughout 5 months of intense training and competition, Kelly's pregnancy went unnoticed. This could be attributed to the demanding nature of water polo and the athlete's focused mindset. Kelly's dedication and unwavering commitment to her Olympic aspirations meant she never sought special treatment. Her athletic physique, combined with loose clothing, helped conceal her condition. Some women's body types can also mask pregnancy until late stages, which may have been a factor in Kelly's case. Though deeply affected by the second abortion, Kelly appeared to move forward, continuing her athletic pursuits and forming new relationships. In 1994, she met Duncan, and they remained together until 1998. Duncan was captivated by Kelly's vibrant personality and expressed his desire to marry her. They shared a love for sports and a penchant for lively social gatherings. In 1995, Kelly became pregnant once more, and again, the pregnancy was unwanted. Haunted by her previous traumatic abortion, Kelly avoided medical intervention, hoping the situation would resolve itself. She maintained her rigorous training regimen and active lifestyle, concealing her pregnancy from everyone, including Duncan, her mother, who was constantly present as team manager, and her fellow athletes. Kelly's ability to hide her pregnancy for so long remains a mystery, but she consistently wore loose clothing and avoided revealing her figure in her swimsuit. Duncan later recalled that Kelly never allowed him to touch her stomach and became less physically affectionate in the later stages of her pregnancy. Around the 7th month of Kelly Lane's pregnancy, an unforeseen incident occurred. During a training session, a fellow athlete swimming underwater noticed Kelly's protruding abdomen, arousing suspicions about her pregnancy. She shared these suspicions with their coach. The coach subsequently questioned Kelly, but she vehemently denied the pregnancy. Given the relatively small size of her bump, the coach accepted her denial, not anticipating such a determined effort to conceal her condition. Kelly persisted in her deception, fearing the potential impact on her athletic aspirations. Just 2 days before her 20th birthday, Kelly competed in a regional water floor competition and fell ill. Following the event, she was rushed to the hospital where she delivered a baby girl. Kelly endured intense labor pains, which apparently began during the competition itself. She immediately relinquished the infant, who was subsequently adopted. Kelly even falsely named another man as the father. Despite this, she was required to remain in the hospital with the newborn until her discharge, providing breastfeeding care. Throughout this ordeal, she kept the birth a secret from her family. Kelly deceived her parents, claiming to be spending time with friends, a story they readily believed. With no cause for concern, she successfully executed her plan. While recovering in the hospital, she even managed to slip out on her birthday to celebrate with friends. Given her responsibility of breastfeeding, her intoxicated state upon returning to the hospital was highly irresponsible. The distressed mother was discharged and placed the baby with a foster family. By early 1996, Kelly had secured a teaching position at a private school while continuing her aquatic career, representing Team Australia at the World Championships in Canada, where she won a silver medal. Her past experiences with motherhood seemingly hadn't altered her behavior or instilled greater caution. She remained sexually active without modifying her evidently ineffective contraceptive practices. Unsurprisingly, this led to further complications. At 21, Kelly discovered she was pregnant again. This time, however, she felt apprehensive about terminating the pregnancy. She was still involved with Duncan, who was deeply in love with her, and marriage was a possibility. They appear to be the ideal couple. Yet, despite their long-term relationship and Duncan's desire to marry, Kelly concealed her pregnancy from him, as well as from her family and friends. As before, her pregnancy was barely visible, maintaining her slim physique and unchanged lifestyle. She continued drinking, attending parties, engaging in intimate relations, and rigorously training throughout her pregnancy. The training regimen was demanding, as always. However, living in a small, close-knit community led to gossip and speculation about Kelly's condition fueled by perceived changes in her behavior, such as her use of a towel or wearing loose clothing. Despite these observations, her inner circle remained oblivious. Kelly consistently denied any pregnancy, and lacking any concrete proof, no one challenged her assertions. By April 1996, Kelly's relationship with Duncan was strained. He had moved to a different neighborhood, creating distance between them. Shortly after, Kelly discovered Duncan's infidelity with a teammate. Although not entirely surprised, she experienced feelings of possessiveness. Ultimately, she chose to forgive him and preserve the relationship. On September 12, 1996, Kelly secretly gave birth to her second daughter, Tegan. After informing her loved ones of a weekend trip with friends, she proceeded to the hospital where she herself had been born, choosing a location farther from home to minimize the risk of encountering acquaintances. For the first time, she used her real name and birth date. She may have even considered keeping the baby. However, Kelly subsequently changed her address and phone number. At that time, altering personal information was relatively simple. Australians could access free, even anonymous, medical care when necessary. Today, such deception would be swiftly uncovered. Unlike her previous children, Tegan experienced a degree of maternal affection. A bond appeared to develop between them. Kelly spent time with her daughter, breastfeeding, bathing, and sleeping alongside her. She even consulted with doctors regarding future motherhood, complying with checkups and demonstrating no inclination to flee as she had before. She hadn't abandoned the baby. Just 2 days postpartum, Kelly and Tegan were discharged. However, in her haste, she neglected one crucial mandatory test, the newborn heel prick blood test. Due to the rushed departure, a DNA test to confirm maternity and paternity wasn't conducted. The early discharge was attributed to a shortage of hospital beds. Given their apparent good health, they were released promptly to accommodate other patients. They left the hospital sometime between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m., and Tegan was never seen again. Kelly arrived at her parents' home around 3 p.m. without the baby. No one suspected she had given birth, so no questions were raised. That evening, she met Duncan and went partying, attending a family wedding where she behaved as if nothing unusual had occurred. Her behavior went unquestioned and unchallenged. For 3 years, Tegan's existence remained unknown. She vanished on the day of her discharge, sometime between leaving the hospital and Kelly's arrival home. No search was initiated as only Kelly and the hospital staff were aware of Tegan's birth. The hospital did not monitor the infant's welfare, thus maintaining the secrecy. By late 1998, Kelly's carelessness resulted in another pregnancy. However, by the time she realized her condition, she and Duncan had separated. Once again, she chose to conceal her pregnancy and planned a secret abortion. In early February 1999, she visited a newly established abortion clinic in Finland. However, due to the advanced stage of her pregnancy, she was already 25 weeks along. Kelly was denied the procedure. Other clinics also turned her away, leaving her with no choice but to carry the pregnancy to term. She delivered the baby in secret at a hospital and immediately placed the infant for adoption. This confidential process, however, had become more complex due to recent legal changes. During this process, a social worker engaged in a lengthy discussion with her regarding her lack of proper documentation. Kelly falsely claimed this was her first child, providing only her correct name, but supplying inaccurate contact information and address. She also stated that she didn't know the father's identity. This misinformation significantly hampered the social worker's efforts. As they organized the details provided by Kelly, they discovered the deception and realized this was not her first child. Unable to finalize the adoption without accurate information, they attempted to locate her. The infant's legal status became complicated. Changes in adoption laws had occurred, a factor Kelly seemed to have overlooked. Social workers handling the adoption paperwork began a thorough background check on Kelly. The more they investigated, the more discrepancies and falsehoods surfaced. She had provided false addresses to various medical facilities, some even located in other countries, like the UK. The inconsistencies in her story led the social workers to regard her with suspicion. Their investigation revealed she likely had another daughter, Tegan, born a few years prior. Kelly had apparently kept Tegan, leaving the hospital with her. The only record of Tegan was her birth at Burns Hospital. After that, there was no trace. Kelly had never taken Tegan for pediatric checkups, vaccinations, or any medical attention. This naturally raised red flags. 3 years had passed without any record of Tegan, and Kelly denied any previous births. Deeply concerned, social workers contacted Kelly's mother. Kelly's mother confidently asserted there were no other grandchildren. Unsatisfied, the social workers, sensing something amiss, contacted the police, who launched an investigation. Meanwhile, Kelly continued her life as usual, unaware of how close the police were getting. In 2000, the 25-year-old Kelly became pregnant again, this time choosing to keep the child. She shared this news with her family and boyfriend, possibly influenced by her aging out of her sports career. Kelly pursued work as a trainer, cultivating the image of a responsible mother. However, she was unaware that the investigation into Tegan's disappearance was intensifying. Detectives contacted her regarding her previous pregnancies, and she was brought in for questioning. With the evidence gathered against her, Kelly confessed to all 5 pregnancies, including the abortions and the abandoned child. Between the ages of 17 and 24, she had undergone 2 abortions and given birth to 3 children, all concealed from her family. She revealed that Tegan was born during a secret relationship with an older, established man who desired children. According to Kelly, he took Tegan after they left the hospital. She identified him as Andrew Morris, claiming they met on Wisbeach Street and that he worked in finance. They had a brief affair after meeting in a bar. Kelly informed him of the pregnancy, and he was reportedly overjoyed. She explained that he took Tegan but didn't specify where. She couldn't provide further details about him, including his current location or even a clear description of his appearance. Despite this, a composite sketch was created for the investigation. Detectives began searching for Andrew Morris to locate Tegan. This proved challenging. No men matching Kelly's description existed with that name. No one by that name lived on Beach Street either, casting doubt on Kelly's story. They eventually located an Andrew Morris with whom Kelly had been involved, but the relationship predated Tegan's birth by several years. He confirmed he hadn't seen Kelly recently and hadn't taken a child from her. He'd moved away some time ago and had never lived at the address provided. Kelly may have simply offered the first name that came to mind. The investigation stalled for 2 months due to the difficulties in locating the alleged father. A new detective eventually took over the case and recalled Kelly for questioning. She repeated her previous story, but with some discrepancies. Tegan's father's last name was now Norris, not Morris. Kelly claimed it was a mistake, adding she couldn't recall the surname clearly. The detective then directly asked if she had harmed Tegan. A visibly upset Kelly denied this and requested the recording be stopped. She worried about the social repercussions and the impact on her career if her pregnancies became public knowledge. With no grounds for charges, she was released, and the investigation continued. The police, having exhausted efforts searching for Andrew Morris, now sought Andrew Norris, but again found no match. No records of a child resembling Tegan were found in any school or kindergarten in Minley or surrounding areas. Approximately 86,000 children's birth records were examined. Investigators worked diligently to uncover the whereabouts of the adopted child, but initially, information was scarce. Kelly's fabrications grew increasingly transparent, yet she persisted in misleading the authorities. She maintained that she had last seen her 1-year-old daughter in mid-1997, a claim unsupported by any other testimony. Undeterred, detectives pursued the investigation, contacting Duncan, Kelly's former boyfriend from the period during which she had a secret affair and gave birth to Tegan. Duncan asserted that he was unaware of Kelly's pregnancy, stating that she had never disclosed it to him. However, upon reflection, he recalled that Kelly consistently prevented him from touching her abdomen, though he hadn't considered it significant at the time. He also clarified that they had not been cohabitating, but rather casually dating. He readily submitted a DNA sample. Testing revealed that he was not the biological father of either Kelly's first or third child, both of whom had been placed in foster care. Unfortunately, investigators lacked a DNA sample from the missing baby girl, preventing them from confirming Duncan's paternity of Tegan. Establishing Tegan's existence and connecting all the available data proved challenging due to the incomplete and inaccurate records from that time, a consequence of the absence of a unified data collection system. This significantly hampered the investigative process. While law enforcement struggled to piece together the puzzle of the girl's disappearance, Kelly remained seemingly unconcerned about Tegan's fate. Rumors circulated throughout the city alleging that Kelly had undergone multiple abortions and had given birth to and abandoned other children. These rumors negatively impacted her coaching career and tarnished her reputation. In an apparent attempt to rehabilitate her public image, Kelly openly gave birth to a baby girl in 2004, whom she chose to keep, and subsequently married the child's father. Detectives found no information about the baby's father, Andrew Norris, or about Tegan. Kelly's narrative continued to shift, lacking any credibility. With the investigation stalled, authorities offered Kelly a deal: plead guilty to the child's murder and reveal the location of the body. This would preclude any formal charges, protecting her from prosecution and imprisonment. Despite these favorable terms, Kelly adhered to her claim of innocence, insisting that Tegan was alive and that the child's and father's names might have been changed, or that they had left the country, explaining the detectives' inability to locate them. Law enforcement considered this scenario improbable, questioning why the father would orchestrate such a scheme if he had simply taken his daughter from a negligent mother. He could have easily rectified any documentation issues through official channels and enrolled his daughter in school and healthcare. His prolonged concealment seemed illogical. The investigation was further complicated by a ban on information dissemination. Consequently, law enforcement couldn't involve the media or the public. Following Kelly's rejection of the plea bargain, detectives continued their efforts. In February 2006, they concluded that Tegan was deceased, reclassifying the case as a homicide. They also determined that Andrew Nerisi was a fictitious individual, though lacked definitive proof. Despite the absence of direct evidence or witness testimony, Kelly was charged with Tegan's murder on November 17, 2009. She pleaded not guilty, leading to a trial. Prosecutors argued that Tegan, born 13 years prior, was the fourth of Kelly's pregnancies. The first two were reportedly terminated, while the third and fifth children were placed in state care. The prosecution contended that the murder occurred on September 14, 1996, the day of Tegan's discharge from the hospital. They asserted that immediately after leaving the hospital, the infant vanished. Kelly, they argued, had a limited time frame to commit the crime and dispose of the body, motivated by a desire to protect her social standing and athletic career. She concealed her pregnancy and eliminated the child, returning home as if nothing had happened, meeting her boyfriend, and attending a family wedding. Throughout the trial, Kelly maintained her innocence, supported by her first boyfriend, Patrick, who believed her story and had rekindled their relationship following her divorce. He testified about the difficulty of their earlier decision to terminate a pregnancy and Kelly's emotional distress afterwards, asserting his disbelief in her capacity for murder. However, he was unaware of her subsequent abortion and the children she relinquished, details that damaged her credibility with the jury. The prosecution's case relied heavily on circumstantial evidence, lacking a body, witnesses, or direct proof. The prosecutor portrayed Kelly as a dangerous, manipulative individual willing to do anything to achieve her goals, demonstrating a disregard for her children by abandoning them. A psychiatrist characterized her as narcissistic and adept at portraying herself as a victim. The complex and protracted 4-month trial culminated in a guilty verdict, not for murder, but for perjury, on December 13, 2010. The trial resumed, and on April 15, 2011, Kelly was convicted of Tegan Lee Lane's murder and sentenced to 18 years in prison, eligible for parole after 13 years. Her appeals were denied. Throughout the proceedings, Kelly displayed a striking lack of emotion, possibly influencing the jury's decision. While incarcerated, she ended her relationship with Patrick but continued sending him love letters. When Patrick's new girlfriend asked her to cease contact, Kelly responded with angry letters and enlisted fellow inmates in a campaign of online harassment and mailed threats. The harassment led to Patrick's breakup. Kelly, now 48, remains incarcerated but will soon be eligible for parole. She continues to profess her innocence, claiming her daughter is alive. Her parents support her, believing the verdict unjust due to the lack of concrete evidence. In an interview, Kelly attributed her emotional detachment and concealed pregnancy to a desire to shield her parents from shame. I've always believed her numerous pregnancies stemmed from using incorrect birth control and her hesitation to ask her partners to use other forms of protection, a significant error she only recently recognized. Andrew Morris, or Norris, the supposed father of her daughter, has never reached out to the authorities despite the extensive media coverage surrounding the case after the trial. No one else has provided the police with information regarding his location either. This lack of contact fuels skepticism about his very existence. However, a startling new development has recently emerged in this case. On May 12, 2023, a taxi driver approached law enforcement with a serious claim. He admitted to picking up Kelly and her infant daughter from Burns Hospital on the day of their discharge. During the ride home, Kelly requested he stop in a driveway. She exited the vehicle, leaving the baby by the roadside. The driver witnessed the entire incident, but took no action. Haunted by guilt after driving Kelly home, he returned to check on the infant. There, he encountered a woman who stated she would take and care for the baby. Satisfied, he then left. The driver couldn't provide a description of this woman or her name. Investigators attempted to corroborate this unusual account, but found no supporting evidence. No other witnesses saw the woman. Tegan Lane's fate remains a mystery to both the police and her loved ones. If alive, Tegan would now be 27 years old. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up, and let's discuss this perplexing case in the comments. I also recommend checking out these other videos. Thanks for watching and goodbye.